the FBI is interested in what Big U's involvement in Nipsey's death might be.
All right, y'all, strap in.
Hey, no Diddy, man, no Diddy.
Pause, my bad. But we got a lot to talk about with this rolling 60s case, okay? Now, the first thing on the docket is Adam22 said the feds was knocking on his door trying to figure out if Big U had something to do with the death of Nipsey Hussle. We've heard that rumored many a times from Whack 100 and others, but check out this clip and like the video and subscribe. Let's get it.
My lawyer reaches out to the guy who came to my door. She assures me that she's going to be able to ask the FBI agent a handful of questions, and from that information be able to ascertain, is Adam in trouble? Is Adam going to be, forced to hand over a crazy amount of information? Because that was kind of lingering around in my head as like, God, this is going to be a huge pain in the ass if they want to confiscate all the computers and everything in here. We're going to have to buy a bunch of computers to use.
Where's the furnace set to start the furnace up, guys?
I don't know. I was considering that. I have not destroyed any information for the record. But this is the thing that my lawyer comes back to me with. She said the feds were interested in one thing and one thing only. Because in my head, I'm thinking they're going to want copies of the podcasts that Brick or Loose were on. They're going to want to make sure that there wasn't anything in those podcasts that was edited out. Now, anybody who knows me and No Jumper knows that we really don't like to edit things out. So the only stuff we're editing out is if it's like a 4-alarm fire, like, yo, we need to take this out. So I don't think there's ever been something that Brick or Loose told us that they needed us to edit out. But the one thing that the feds wanted was the cease and desist from Big U to No Jumper, asking us to take down the episode in which Loose Cannon first made the explosive statements that suggested that Big U had previous knowledge of Nipsey Hussle's death. Now, that situation is very much outside of what was mentioned in the indictment. In the indictment, there's nothing about Nipsey. There's nothing about any of that stuff. So this to me is kind of massive because it makes me feel like, oh, the FBI is interested in what Big U's involvement in Nipsey's death might be, which to me seems gigantic. I don't know why that cease and desist is not going to help them prosecute Brick Baby or Loose Cannon or anybody else. But the fact that they're interested in that, to me, adds quite a bit of credibility to the argument that perhaps Nipsey Hussle's death was a more complicated situation than it appears to be.
Well, isn't that when this
gave it to him though?
Isn't it?
We did hand it over, yeah.
Now, we also got my favorite lawyer for workers, and he's speaking on this rolling 60s RICO, the indictment. Let's check out some more details.
3 counts. This seems different than what we heard a couple weeks ago of 16 people arrested and charged as part of a different gang indictment. Here, what they're saying is the Big U enterprise, along with his 5 associates, yes, Termaine Ashley Williams, a.k.a. Loose Cannon, is alleged to be part of this enterprise. He's part of the robbery angle. There's a lot of charges. Let me take you through the primary charges. The first, the Fed's favorite, it's a criminal RICO enterprise. What are they involved in? Robbery and extortion. I don't know if you've heard anything about Big U and his cohorts extorting people, but the Feds seem to think that what you may have heard is true. There's transportation for prostitution, there's bank and wire fraud, you have tax crimes, obstruction of justice. Now, there's a number of different schemes that they're saying the Big U enterprise engaged in. One of them, you've probably heard of it, is the check-in extortion scheme. You're an out-of-town celebrity or a gang member and you want to come to LA, well, you better get permission from Henley, according to the Feds, because a failure to check in will result in robberies, assaults, or worse. They reference that the Check-In podcast, I haven't seen it, I don't know if you've seen it, please direct me to the Check-In podcast, was used to legitimize this practice. The other charge, the murder of a rapper in Las Vegas. R.W., the rapper, was with Unique Music and allegedly murdered by Henley after perceived disrespect. The feds say they have surveillance, cell phone data, and family interviews that all point to Henley as being the last person seen with RW, the murdered rapper. And they say that there was an alleged cover-up where Henley and his associates went into the studio and got the surveillance tapes right before the murder happened. There's armed robbery of a marijuana dispensary. Henley allegedly ordered the robbery of a dispensary where an extortion victim worked. After the robbery, the victim was invited to Henley's home and told, "That's how you rob yourself." There's allegations of ongoing robberies and threats by loose cannon. They say they allege that Williams continued violent behavior, including a recent pistol whipping that was caught on video. Then there's extortion of business owners. Victims were extorted for thousands per month with threats of violence or robbery if they did not comply. There's a human trafficking and a sex trafficking allegation where Henley paid people to transport women across state lines for prostitution. The feds say they've intercepted communications showing explicit instructions and references to sex work. There's fraud and embezzlement. They're saying that Henley used his nonprofit called Developing Options to fraudulently obtain grants. I think they're talking about PPP fraud or other COVID-19 related loans. There was the EIDL loan. And allegedly, he used fraud to obtain this stuff because he lied on the applications about what the enterprise, what the business actually did and who its employees were and how they were going to use the money. Then a nice little ending is, hey, after we announced the charges against him, he went online using somebody else's Instagram account. He got rid of his phones, stopped using them, and then went on somebody else's Instagram account and said, yo, my co-defendants, don't talk to them. They're losers. They're doing wrong. The feds seem to think that this guy was at the center of a criminal organization that's been running from 2010 to 2025. There's a probable cause affidavit. They said they've gotten all types of search warrants and subpoena returns in support of all of these crimes. The big question that I have that I can't understand is why are there only 6 people in this indictment? And then a couple of weeks ago, we got word of 16 that were rounded up and arrested as part of a RICO enterprise. Stay tuned.
So it's so much to get with this. Let's start off with what Adam22 was talking about. Look, people still got a lot of questions about what really happened to Nipsey Hussle. And I think a lot of people want answers. And hopefully this Big U situation can give us some revelations about what the truth is behind Nipsey's death. And I want to put that aside for a second because I want to know from y'all in the comments, how do y'all feel like Adam22 has been handling this whole indictment when you got, what, one of his employees going down, another guy who's been on this show, Loose Cannon, multiple times, then you got the whole whack 100 of it all. And I'm just saying, do y'all feel like Adam is playing this up for content too much? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like Adam is salivating at the mouth like, yeah, these dudes went to jail. We gonna have a lot of videos, a lot of views off of this. And I'm not even saying, is it wrong for him to do that? Because did he do anything wrong? Did he commit crimes? Did he try to help these guys get off of the street? But then you got some people that might look at Adam like Vlad TV, and he's somebody giving these people a platform to get themselves in trouble. And does he acknowledge that? And does he know? Then you got another guy like Poetic Flacco, who I got respect for. I got respect for No Jumper too, just for being in media. But still, you got a guy like Poetic Flacco, he don't mind snitching either. You know, so you got the gang members coming up there saying things that they shouldn't say on camera. Then you got the white guy who just told you, hey, when the feds call me, they want to cease and desist on Big U, we complying. I don't know if y'all heard the end of that clip. He said, somebody asked him, did you give it to him? And he was like, yeah, we gave it to him. As he should. He a civilian. And then you got the other guy, Poetic Flacco, who makes the videos about, you know, these guys doing crimes and like, yo, this guy's going to jail. At one point, Brick Baby had to check him about some stuff he said about, I don't know if it was about the rolling 60s or the gang stuff, but, you know, he felt like Poetic Flacco was doing a little too much on the internet when it came to speaking on some of the mysteries in Brick Baby's history, okay? So it's always been a weird operation they got up there at No Jumper. But going back to the original topic, like, yeah, we want to know if Big U was involved in Nipsey's murder. Remember, Loose Cannon, if I'm not mistaken, he basically said that Big U had information about Nipsey's death before it happened. And if y'all remember, Loose Cannon was using that to promote a show. I didn't know if it was real or cap. But now, if you got the feds looking into if Big U had something to do with Nipsey's death, it does give a little more credence to that theory. Also, Whack 100 has been running with that too. Then you got the whole, like I said, the Whack 100 of it all. You got guys like Charleston White putting out good points. I'm not saying I agree with everything that Charleston White says, but he said Whack 100 is somebody who talks about all of this information that they have on everybody. He said the only people that move like that is police. I'm not saying Whack is a snitch, but you do have a lot of people who feel like if Brick Baby got arrested, Loose Cannon got arrested, Big U got arrested, why isn't Whack 100 arrested? And that goes back to my main point. No Jumper is a very, very odd organization to me. I'm not trying to put anything on them or anything like that, but sometimes I don't know up from down when it comes to No Jumper. I'm just being honest. Then you got all of these clips of Loose Cannon going around, self-snitching, talking about, remember, Lawyer for Workers said extortion, checking in scheme, trafficking, a rapper that passed away. They trying to put that on Big U. A dispensary robbery. That dispensary robbery, Loose Cannon is talking about that at a podcast. And was talking about they did something to Meek Mill at Academics platform. So you got all of these guys just coming up here giving out this information. Also, Loose Cannon is somebody that it seemed like Whack was helping or putting on. The streets tell me that Whack and Loose wasn't really rocking with each other, but then they both started beefing with Big U, so then they started going at Big U together. And also, y'all notice we keep hearing a lot about Loose Cannon and Big U. We don't really hear about Brick Baby. Was Brick Baby at the bottom of the totem pole? Maybe he wasn't really out here putting in work like that. Did, Brick Baby have a baby and change his life? Because I know Brick Baby got a family. I think I heard him say that on the show a couple of times. So maybe Brick Baby might get home, because I don't hear a lot of charges involving Brick Baby. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't read all of the paperwork, but I just keep hearing about Loose Cannon was doing all this stuff on Big U's behalf, but somehow they fell out. But yeah, it's a lot of questions about this Rolling 60s RICO. What do y'all think about Adam22's involvement with this indictment? Is he making it too much about content? Is it a lot of self-snitching going on? What do y'all think about Whack 100 being in close contact to all of these people? His name is always popping up around these people. Is Big U the puppet master that the feds say? And what's up with Brick Baby? Did Brick Baby do anything? Let me know in the comments, like the video, and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.